For many Canadians, hunting season is coming to a close. Whether you're a big game hunter stalking deer, moose, or bear, or a small game hunter going after wild turkeys and grouse, hunting is part of our Canadian heritage. And the numbers speak to that. Did you know there are over 1.3 million hunters in Canada, spending a total of $5.9 billion in 2018, for example? The industry supports 33,000 jobs. And if you tack on fishing and trapping, those numbers double. And while some hunt for sport and the thrill, many Canadian families still rely on hunted meat to fill their freezers and feed their families. There's nothing yummier than biting into a moose burger that you caught, ground up, and made, or taking a spoonful of venison chili from a deer that you hunted on your own land, bringing the phrase forest to table to a whole new level. But is hunting growing or becoming obsolete? Should Canadian hunters be concerned about firearm restrictions with Bill C-21 working its way through the Senate? Well, joining us later in the program to update us on Bill 21 and share his expertise on hunting is Charles Zak of the National Firearms Association. But now I would love to welcome Kristen Snoek, wildlife biologist from the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters. Kristen, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Tanya, for having me.
Excellent. So what is Canada's historical relationship with hunting, trapping, and angling?
Oh, that is a large question. As you might think, or as you might know, it goes back obviously such a very long time. As you said, it is part of our heritage. It is how many people survived, of course, and that tradition continues today for sure.
Okay. And how many Canadians, now I respect that your organization is really Ontario focused, but if you have the numbers, how many Canadians and Ontarians hunt or trap or fish?
So I can tell you for sure in Ontario, as of like about, I think 2022, there was just under 500,000 licenses sold in Ontario for hunting. On top of that, there was another 11,500 licenses sold for non-residents. I'm not sure on angling. Let me see. I think it is actually quite similar in numbers, but yeah, so as you can tell, a large number of Ontarians do participate in the activity for sure.
So why do people hunt now? Okay, I appreciate that maybe 100 years ago, um, probably solely the object of hunting was to provide and feed, provide food. Now,
Yeah.
we have feedlots. We don't, people actually even they have feedlots even for deer, for goodness sakes. You don't even have to hunt one anymore if you're really craving that venison. So why are hunters hunting now?
Well, I think actually just for some of those reasons you just said, some people don't like that that the knowledge of the how those animals are sometimes brought up in some of those more mass-produced type situations, and they want to know that the animal that they are harvesting has had a good life. So that might be one of the reasons, just for what they perceive to be ethical reasons. They know that the animal that they've harvested, they've lived in a natural environment, they had proper feeding and everything like that. So that might be one reason. As you said, sustenance is still a huge aspect for many people. They want to get their protein source from a natural source, and they want to know where it came from, that there's nothing in it that they don't want to eat, things like that. But on a different note, the tradition is still a huge aspect. Many people grow up hunting. I did that myself as well. My dad introduced me to hunting when I was younger, and it's a tradition. It's a family time activity. I really appreciate getting to spend that time with my family and any other friends that join us. And many Canadians and Ontario people feel the same way. So that is a really big one as well. But then there's also the aspect of mental and physical health. Getting out into nature, it's a very calming experience for some people. It brings a lot of peace of mind, being able to sit in the forest or walk in the forest, that type of thing, or other environments. And it's just a great pastime. It's also just a very healthy activity physically as well.
Yes, it's almost like a meditative experience. I mean, many
It
hunters
is.
sit out there for days, could be hours a day, and then
Yeah.
finally their patience is rewarded, and they catch that one, moose or deer or whatever they're looking to trap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Um, and we only have about 25 seconds. What animals are hunted in Canada?
Oh, that is a long list. But in short, there's everything from migratory birds such as Canada geese, upland birds such as grouse, like you mentioned, There's small game mammals. There's large game, like deer and moose, etc. And that varies by province, depending on what animals live where, of course, as well. But that's it's a long list.
Okay,
But those are some examples.
we'll be right back.